Okay, I just wanted to play with that for a second. Had to make sure it was there. Because we're in. I got to move Jamal's
We're
camera a little
in.
bit.
And get our picture. Everybody smile.
Hold on, let me move Jamal to the center a little bit.
Well,
Got you,
All right.
Jamal. Thank you.
Hey,
What's
Jamal,
up,
you like how I
everybody?
control your
Good
camera? What is that? A
morning.
Purple Rain shirt? What is that? Velvet?
oh no, it says Black History is American history.
Oh, it does it?
Oh, already.
All right.
There's your alarm, Michael. We're right on time.
Nah, it's at 10:01 though.
That's 10:01 alarm. Okay.
But we on already. We were on at 10 already. So, we're here. We're here. We're here. All right. Let's I'm gonna start routing us to various places.
We're ready. Oh my goodness.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Woo. What's up, guys? How's everybody's week? How was your week so far?
Good. Oh, wait, who? Oh,
Either one.
It's a good it was a good writing week, and I worked on set Sunday, and then I worked on set a few hours yesterday for a talk show. And but it was a good writing week, and yeah, it was a good week. It was a good week.
Oh, that's good.
And I got to see a documentary, a red carpet documentary last night, which we'll talk about later. But yes, which will tie into our subject today.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. So it's hey, Jamal, how was your week, buddy? How was your week, pal?
I didn't get much done creatively, but I did get some rest this week. I was kind of crashing early, so I kind of felt good about that. The week was kind of long because I'm anticipating a nice little vacation, but no, it was good. It was all good. What about you, Mike?
Michael, my week was it was a long week of rest. Much needed rest. A lot happening.
Yeah.
A lot happening. So just kind of chilled out. I've been working on my office area. Y'all can't see, but I'm gonna actually make some changes. I'm trying to figure out how the changes are gonna look and come across. Because in my brain, I'm like, this won't be behind me when I do the Black Filmmakers Lounge. It won't be my board, which my whiteboard and everything for film, my film area, right? So I'm looking at moving my desk to a different section of the room, putting a different desk in this section for something else because, I'm a collector. So I thought about doing a thing for collecting.
Okay.
And so that was going to become my other focus for the stuff I do is talk about collecting in my collection.
Okay.
So that was that's that other part. Sorry, I'm also putting the Black Filmmakers Lounge on different feeds right now.
Hey, do what you do.
But yeah, so that's where I'm at. So if you're watching, let me say good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Come on in. Come on in.
Peace, everybody.
Come on in. Good morning. Good Saturday morning.
I know. We're going to be on from 10 to 11 today, like always.
I told my friend last night how I was telling y'all, you guys one day, I said, I'm going to jump up and just throw on a t-shirt, brush my teeth and get on camera just like they do. I said, I have to do so much more than them. And it was we were talking about that. It was so funny. I was like, I have to do so much more than them. I said, but yeah, one day I'm just going to jump in there and throw on a t-shirt and brush my teeth on camera. Hey, JD, how are you?
Yeah. Sorry. If you leave me now, you're taking me the best.
Oh, JD, I need to send you an invitation. If I didn't already, I should have sent it to you.
All right. We let me go ahead and get the board together.
All right.
Love that love. Well, that's so important.
Come on in. Come on in.
What's up? What's up? Hello,
Amen.
hello,
That's
hello.
good.
All right. So let's just get the show started. Just jump right into it when we do it. Here we go. Hey, welcome. Good morning. Welcome to the Black Filmmakers Lounge. I'm your host, Michael Melvin. Today, my co-host, Tamira TK Henderson, and DJ Sci-Fi is going to be hosting with me today, hanging out at the Black Filmmakers Lounge. A little bit about the Black Filmmakers Lounge and what we are about. The Black Filmmakers Lounge is where independent filmmakers, whether novice or professionals, come together to gain insight and perspective through education, information, networking, and to discuss industry best practices that will advance the Black independent film community. Let me say that again. Advance the Black independent film community, because that's what we are about. So we'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us today, because we're going to do a part 2 to using social media. I know we talked about the criticism side last show, so if you didn't see that, go check that out. But today we're going to be talking about using it to your advantage, not your disadvantage. And so, not only doing that, but we're going to talk about platform usage and some other things as well. And of course, we're going to always start the show off with what you're watching. But just remember, the Black Filmmakers Lounge is about creating our own space to succeed together. So let's get this show on the road. Oh, should I do this one?
What's up, everybody? Good morning. Good Saturday morning. Shout out to...
Can I get whatever Michael had today so I can get some of that energy?
I had a little bit.
I had a
little bit too.
I don't drink coffee.
I wasn't scrambling this morning. Trying to get
I
up
don't
here.
know what it is.
You don't know what it is? Why?
It's that raw juice.
You need another cup of coffee to be there where you are, but I'm not there yet. So, sorry.
It's that good old raw juice and rest. That's what it is.
I'm hyped for the show.
There you go.
I'm hyped for the audience, the people joining us today. JD, hello, how you doing? I'm hyped for everybody who's watching. If you are watching, say what's up. Let us know what you've been watching on TV.
I was just about to say that. Let us know what you've been watching. I think Michael Hill came in here before we even asked. Michael Hill had put all his shows in. I was like, there you go, Michael. He was like, on it already.
So we want to thank everybody for joining us. So anybody want to talk about what they watched this week, TK? Let's start with the last.
I'll go last.
Oh, you go last? You're like, I'm going to go last.
I'll go last because then I can segue. Go ahead.
So, I think I watched one thing this week.
What?
And that was Prey, the new Predator movie.
Oh.
And it's on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good. I thought it was probably the best Predator movie not named the original that they've done. If you haven't watched it, definitely check it out. I thought it was cool how they incorporated the Native Americans and language and stuff like that. So it's really kind of cool. Check it out. I think there's two different versions of it. I think there's a version where they're strictly speaking in Comanche in that language, and then there's the English version too. So I thought it was really cool. Definitely worth checking out. You know, even if you're not a fan of, say, the Predator franchise, it's still a good movie through and through.
Okay.
Good intensity, good storytelling. 2 thumbs up for me.
Okay, cool. If you're watching, make sure you come over to the Black Filmmakers Lounge main page if you want to get into the comments and the chat so we can see your stuff, because that's where we really can see everything. But thank you for sharing, DJ Sci-Fi. And so for me, I watched, I don't know if I did it last week or this week. I watched Luck. I think I mentioned that last week. I've been watching Supernatural. I just watch like those shows. movie wise, Dag, I gotta think because I went back. Oh, I went back and watched Jason's Lyric.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, I did it the other night. I went back. Darrell, what's up, man? David, how you doing?
How you doing, David? Hey, Darrell.
So
Hey, cousin.
I
Josh
went
was
back,
right, by the way.
but
Michael, Josh was right about, by the way.
Josh was right.
He was right
Josh
about her.
He was
all
not right
along.
about her.
He was right.
So I watched it. I was breaking it down, okay, because it came up in another group in a different Facebook group about movies and settings, right? And could stories be told? Is the setting important? Is the environment important? And to me, the environment helps tell the story, right? When your characters are in an authentic environment, it better serves the story and it serves the characters because it feels real to you or you believe it, but could you have that same situation somewhere else? Yes. To me, yeah, you can. Could it happen among rich people? To an extent, yeah. And because the movie's about escaping the norm that people get trapped in, right?
Yeah.
So you can get trapped in a life of wealth in a negative manner. We've kind of told those stories before. So to me, when I watch movies, more so, I got to watch it at least 2 or 3 times. First time is to just enjoy, right? The second time, if I don't fall asleep, then, my rule, man. If I fall asleep during a movie the second time, it's really boring.
You just need to get some sleep at night. You won't fall asleep so much.
It says Facebook user.
That's Thomas.
Hey, Thomas, what's up,
hey,
man?
Thomas. Hey, Tony.
So, it's good to be back, Thomas. So that's kind of where I look at things, right? I got to watch it multiple times. And the third time is I break it down. I break it down from a production aspect, whether it's as a director, as a cinematographer. I start looking at stuff like sound and how the story is developed, the writing aspect, like why did they write it this way? And that's when you also look at who wrote it, who directed it. Because you got to ask these questions when you watch a movie, and this is just me. Why did they do this? Why did the director choose this shot, this angle? Why are they telling this scene this way? What's the conflict here? What's these things? And because it helps me study as a filmmaker and as an educator of film. So that's kind of where I was. And then I didn't watch much of anything else. I know tonight we're supposed to watch Loot, and we're also supposed to watch Power, the Book of Canaan. So, because that premieres at midnight, and I got a thing with one of my nephews. He'll hit my wife and Tiffany and I up. And, hey, did you watch it? What'd you think? And we'll get into the discussion and debate about some stuff. So that's our thing. So yeah, TK.
No, Jaden has a question for you. Good morning, Jaden.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna pop that question up. Does your experience behind camera often ruin movies for you since you notice the small errors? No, Jaden, it doesn't. And the reason it doesn't is I'm not looking for the small errors until the second or third time I watch a movie. I go to watch every time I watch a movie initially is to just enjoy it. I'm not worried about mistakes they've made. Well, do I pick up on some of the mistakes? Yeah, but I'll rather overlook it. I'm really focused on the story. Is it a good story being told? Am I into it? Is this worth my 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever? Because truth be told, Jaden, I don't know if you've heard me on the show say this, but to me, even though I'm a filmmaker, I have to be an honest filmmaker. And all films to me, are train wrecks that we watch to see what happens. We know what's going to happen. It's the in-between stuff that matters because we already know the possibility of the beginning and the end. We you know where the story's going. You just want to know how it gets there. You know that there's a possibility these two trains colliding. Is somebody going to jump out and stop them and switch the train? Are they going to collide? What happens to life after they collide? Is some person going to jump out the air, stick their hands out and stop both trains? That's the supernatural, superhero aspect of it. So we know that those things happen. So I'm kind of looking at it like, yo, because I was telling Jamal this morning, I said, people are voyeurs. That's why you have reality shows. That's why things are the way they are. People like watching what's going to happen. If we haven't noticed this about us as people, think about all the cell phone recordings of all the incidents that are taking place in our society. Look at, and this is a sad moment for this one, but the fact that somebody had to hop online to show you that they're killing somebody else, whether it be their kids, their ex-wife, their boyfriend, you've seen these heinous things happen on social media because they know that people are watching. So that's the sad part and the negative part about the fact that we watch everything.
It's the Truman Show.
Yeah. Basically it's the Truman. It's all these other shows. We like watching everything. Wow. And I'll talk about it also because there was a trailer I sent out that we posted in the Black Filmmakers Lounge community, and there's nothing new under the sun. It's just how you put it together. It's packaging. And we'll get into that because TK knows the trailer I'm talking about. I don't know if Jamal got a chance to watch the trailer for the menu. See it. I sent it to him too. But yeah, I sent it out to my friends. I said, what do y'all think? Because I know where it's going and why, because of what's popular at the time. But I'm going to shift it over to TK now. Here we go.
So JD said she watched Day Shift. A hardworking dad out to provide for his daughter uses a boring pool cleaning job as a front for his real gig, hunting and killing vampires.
Right.
It was $100 million budget for Netflix.
Jamie Foxx, man, yeah.
Baby, I guess they paid him $50 because But anyway, and she's been watching ER, watching the guest stars and stuff. And, I love watching In the Heat of the Night. That's my thing. In the Heat of the Night, American Greed. But Darrell said he watched Kenan and Kel and Modern Love for research. So Modern Love, I'm not sure what that is, but I have to pull that up. But Jaden, to address your question as well, when I'm watching a movie, unless something is completely thrown off, like the sound or the lighting. So when you say small errors, it's certain things I watch. Like I'm not looking for that empty cup on every TV show is killing me. Y'all please put fluid. I don't care if it's water in your cups. Please quit drinking coffee like this. That's just killing me. But along with a couple of things.
I blame the actors. It doesn't matter if there's a cup more water in it or not. In your imagination of acting that, see this bottle? I got to make it look like there's something in it.
Well, see, as a director, that's one thing I can do. I haven't directed anything, but I can direct the hell out of actors. I've told people that coffee not hot, and they're like, "Oh yeah," and then they switch it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, unless the music, like people are talking and all I hear is the music, I'm like, "Oh my God, cut the music," So things like that are like, I'm like, you don't see that hard shadow, So big errors, I would say, not little errors. He said Coney. Not little errors, Jaden, but those big errors, like I'm telling you, lighting, sound, the music, the sound design. Oh my God, I'm just like, wait, stop. So, hey, Brandon.
Good morning, Brandon.
So, anywho, segueing into our first subject today is I watched the documentary I Am John Gabbana.
Mm-hmm.
John Gabbana he used to be, like some of you probably know him. I did not know him. His name used to be Bump Gang. And he used to do all these things. Like he would run in a shoe store, steal shoes. He would go to Subway and steal like the big cookie thing. Like these cookies good. Oh, these cookies mine. And he just take the big, take the big cookie machine, or he'll run in a pizza place and he would record all these skits. And turns out he was broken. But when we talk about social media, he said he was doing it because for survival. So he was doing it for survival, but the impact and the influence, he ended up having 5 million followers. He did not know he was famous because he was kicked out the house from a turbulent childhood at 17, and he had a little brother with him that he had to take care of. They were homeless. So he used social media as a platform of survival.
Right.
What he did not have a plan after he had done all this, because he was young and just surviving. No plan of action. He did not realize the people. Everybody's intense today. Hey,
I know. Good morning, Tanya.
He did not realize the influence he had until he started. Like, he went to jail, and he literally, somebody was like, "Hey, bunk game, how you say it, bunk game. I'm in here because I did your skit. Da 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 da. What's up, man?" And he's like, "Oh no, like wait a minute." But he was I'm telling y'all, the life story of this young man, we were in tears. I sent Michael the trailer. And if you watch the trailer, if you go, I know I post, it's posted on my Facebook page. But if you watch the trailer, then just a 2-minute trailer, it will give you all the everything. And he didn't realize that he had become famous at all until he started going to jail. And then, like he said, he went to the mall one day, and this little boy was like, "Hey, bunk game, I could run in that store and steal these shoes real quick." And he was like, wait, whoa. He did not realize, because he was doing it for survival, the impact and the influence. And there was all these kids coming up to him every time they would see him, telling them they were doing his skits, or they were doing his shenanigans, rather.
They're repeating it. Yeah, copycat.
They were repeating it.
Yeah.
And when he found that out, he was so hurt. It hurt him so bad, because he started, he changed his life. He completely changed his life. And he said, after he changed his life, and people would go, see him and go, "Bunk game," and he like, "My name is, can you please call me John Gabbana?" And they were like, "No, bunk game, this, and that." And he said he started getting mad because he was embarrassed. And he was embarrassed of what he had done before. And so many times, especially, and I'm not going to say just young people, it's older people. So many times we're using these social media platforms as a way to vent, as a way to send subliminal messages. When we're happy, when we're hurt, we're using them for every emotion that we have. And we're not understanding or caring about the influence or the impact at that moment, because it's just what we feel and what we want to, vent. And this is my page. And there's some truth to it. There's some truth to it.
Right.
But when we talk about social media influence in this day and age, we truly, when we're in our right mind, I'll say it like that, when we're in our right mind, because this young man was way, he was dealing with a lot of mental stuff. He was popping pills. I mean, it was the whole 9 yards. It was really, really sad, but the transformation, thank God. But when we, and
it was Jonathan Williams directed it.
Jonathan Williams. And I worked with Jonathan on a film last year, and he was the, I forgot what part he played last year, but he wasn't the director. So when I seen him, and Michael Noir, the DP, he was the DP on the project I worked last year. But when we make films, I have so many calls when people are heartbroken. TK, we should make a film about a man leaving a woman and this and that, da 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 da, and my story. And it's like, we get so caught up in emotion. Now, mind you, Taylor Swift and Adele have made billions off of this stuff. But it's like, when we tell films, it's the same as these social media platforms. What are we influencing? What are we impacting? Are we doing it for entertainment? If we're doing it for entertainment, are we making sure that, like, yes, we put part of ourselves in the story because we write what we know. We do write what we know. So we do have nuggets in there of stuff that we've dealt with and stuff solutions or whatever we've learned from, just to give those gems. But at the same time, understanding social media and film, and having a plan. If you are using social media, what is the plan? What is the plan for you to elevate or get your stuff out there, or the marketing strategy? What is the plan, other than just throwing content on there and just hoping, something sticks sometimes?
You know, it's so interesting that you say that, because it's funny. Jamal and I were talking about that this morning.
Come on, Jesus, tie it together.
Well, can I jump in on this real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting that you even say that. So I'm not sure if you guys have heard 21 Savage had posted up something about the gun violence in Atlanta, telling people to put the guns down, stop resorting to violence all the time. And then he received a whole lot of backlash saying, hey, that's what your music is. This is what you do. This is what you're speaking on. And he says, hey, stop making me one-dimensional. This is entertainment, right? This is entertainment. This is what I do. I rap about this, right? But this is not the only way to resolve issues. And so he sort of had to defend himself and defend his position on what he wants to do artistically, you know. And then, you know, they're saying, hey, well, you're not really being socially conscious, you know, or they're saying, no, you're kind of contradicting yourself. But I do think that on some level, we have to examine this issue. Do we put out art for entertainment, just to entertain only, without any consequence to the, you know, to the masses, like when they're affected by it? I remember there was a long time ago, there was this movie called The Program that Walt Disney produced. It was a football movie. And in the scene, there was a scene in the movie where these college students lay in the middle of the street at night, you know, see who can flinch, right? And so some kids did it, and somebody got hit by a car or whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
And so
wow.
they deleted the scene out of the movie. They took it out,
But yeah.
right? And so, you know, it just goes to show you that, like, this isn't that story, unfortunately, isn't anything new. However, I think it's actually a good story to be told because social media is the rule of the day. You know, people got famous for twerking, so now I see grandmamas twerking.
Right. Or saying stuff, cursing and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
you know,
Kids
like,
are getting
well,
famous
that's
for
so much the
cursing,
cursing
saying
part.
stuff they should do or say. You know, I mean, it's things that normally we wouldn't want kids to do. But I just, if you saw me laugh because of the program thing, I'm guilty. I'm guilty. Because at Morgan State, we went and laid in the middle.
Y'all were laying in the street. Lord have mercy.
It was my freshman year, and we were doing crazy stuff and stunts. And Jamal knows me growing up. We did some crazy stuff. I'm not saying he did, because my name's not Irv Gotti. I was by myself in anything that I did, and the choices
Don't listen to me. Don't attach that to me.
No, I'm just saying. I'm not saying.
No.
Listen, I'm not saying Jamal did anything with me, because I'm not Herb Gotti. I have nothing to do with whatever people do. I'm not dry snitching on anybody. No, I'm joking. But no, I did dumb stuff, and it wasn't all because of movies. Just my personality is I was the truth to dare person. I'll choose to dare. I will choose to dare. You know. Now I'll tell the truth. Normal, period. That don't bother me. But the dare, yeah, people will be like, we'll see what Michael will do this time. So I've done stuff. But then again, there's a movie called Truth to Dare. You know, everything comes from a place. And so, like I was saying, Jamal and I talked about it early this morning, because are you here to entertain, edutain, you know, which is education, entertainment purposes, or are you just here to educate? Are you making films for people just to enjoy? Like, you wanted people to go to the movie theater and escape their lives and just enjoy it? Or are you making movies where you want people to watch it, and when they walk out the theater, you want to have them debating, have them having conversations, have them looking back, whether it's about the subject matter or maybe the story itself. You know, when Inception came out by the other Christopher Nolan, not my mentor. My mentor is the other Christopher Nolan II. But, you know, when Inception came out, people kept saying, oh, did it keep spinning or did it wobble? You know, and that was a big debate.
Everybody was,
people were calling me on the phone.
Like you said.
What you think, Michael? And so that's the thing as a filmmaker. Why are you doing this? This is why I asked that question. Why do you want to make a film? You know, because if you don't
understanding your why.
Yeah, if you don't understand, and Lewis said it wobbled. Uh, so, uh, so the question is, and I'm gonna put this question up: where does the education and responsibilities of us as a society come into play? Where is the personal responsibility? I swear we are living in idiocracy. So here's the thing, and this is me. Okay, I grew up in a household. My dad took us to see Superman, first one, with Christopher Reeves. He said, "We don't fly." You hear what I just said? He said, "We don't fly." He said, "Don't let me catch you with a towel jumping off the house."
I'm gonna tell you now.
Exactly. And so I grew up in a household where my parents, I saw nudity. You got it. Okay. I was like 7, 8. My very first VHS movie was Purple Rain. Literally.
Sorry about that, Michael.
My parents had conversations with me. I went to see Conan. I went to listen, I had an imagination as a kid, but we knew what imagination was and what was real was. But you got to understand, I grew up also, I have privilege. I grew up in a military family. So when I saw my first gun, when I saw my first bullet, I'm a kid. My dad shows me things. He educated me. We had a black librarian. So I'm come from the age of the responsibilities, understanding media comes from home first. Your parents need to say what you can watch, what you can do, what you see, and they need to explain it and break it down so you're not out reacting it. Because we do have a group of kids that are raised by television and now raised by social media. As an educator, last year was a big issue because kids were mimicking TikTok. And they had little challenges on TikTok, like smack a teacher, like mess up the bathroom, and this is social media. Now, when we talk about movies, I think differently, but are we life imitates art imitates life. It's a little bit of everything. And we romanticize gangster films, Every rapper's number one film when me growing up was Scarface. I wasn't fond of it like that. It was okay. Jamal will tell you, I wasn't trapped into Scarface. That wasn't my movie like that.
It was a great movie, but
it was a good movie, but it ain't my number one movie. It just says
I'm not saying that should be your number one.
No, I'm just saying for me, it wasn't my number one movie. You talk to me about movies, I'm talking about Let's Do It Again, Uptown Saturday Night, The Learning Tree. I'm having a different conversation. Mm-hmm. I watched a lot of black shows growing up. I watched a lot of black movies growing up. So I watched other stuff, but if you want to talk about black films, then okay, you could talk to me and my brother. Listen, I was a Black Panther fan before anybody knew it was a movie. Most people didn't even know it was a comic book. I'm not ratting anybody out.
Yeah, you are.
Some people argue with me about is it real?
That's the second
me
time.
And my brother. Huh?
That's the second time today, but let's go ahead. All right.
So at the end of the day, that's where I think this film discussion needs to be had. Whose responsibility is it? And far too often we put it on everybody else but ourselves.
You know what's interesting? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, TK.
No, I was just gonna say, I was approached two things. Well, I was approached about a film one time, and this guy, he still calls me. It's been 15 years. He's still calling me about writing this film, but he don't want to pay me. He won't do it for free. But anyway, I told him, I said, I'm afraid to do this movie because there will be too many copycats. Mm-hmm. This particular movie, I promise you, that would be on my hands. All these young men in jail, in prison, because they tried to copycat what this guy did, because this guy was successful at it. Mm. And the other thing is, I have about 15 original films. I have 2 films that have premarital sex. To each his own. His own. I'm not a saint at all times. I mean, I'm doing real good right now, but I'm not a saint at all times. But I don't believe you have to put sex in movies to sell. So that's one of the impacts and the influence. And that movie deal that's going through right now, that has my name on that script, has no sex in it, and it's $30 million just for principal photography. So that sex sells. Oh, you got to have a sex scene. All that is all bullshit. Period. You don't have to. And so I feel I feel, and that's me. So I, like Thomas said, I take that responsibility on me because that's not what's in me to have sex in every film. So guess what? You have sex in every film, but this one's not. And I don't
Right.
care what you say about it selling. I'm not doing it. I
Right.
have there. It's 2 films with sex in them on purpose out of my 15 original,
Right.
and it's for a purpose. You know what I mean? So yes, that's
Right.
the answer to Thomas's question.
You know, so kind of piggyback on the energy behind what you're about, as far as like certain things that you don't necessarily put in your scripts unless it's necessary, or I guess pertaining to the story, but it's really majority of the time it's not, because for you that's not a selling point. What I think is interesting, probably more so than any other group out there, is the responsibility Black content creators sort of either put on themselves or been, given the responsibility to sort of navigate the two, right? You want to entertain, but we want you to also be socially conscious. Don't coon, don't sell out, don't send the wrong messages, things of that nature. And so if you look at a lot of content from the 70s and 80s and even 90s, well, 90s starts to get a little different, but like 70s and early 80s, there was a conscious effort, to not show certain things. I mean, there were some people who were upset with Superfly. Not Superfly wasn't, always celebrated because they felt like it was glorifying drug dealers, drug use, pimps, things of that nature. The Mac the same way. These are some of my favorite movies. I grew up on them, but the community was sort of divided on those movies, right? But you'll have a movie like Let's Do It Again or Uptown Saturday Night, and even though they delve in sort of street culture at that time, in a lot of ways it was still a wholesome movie in a lot of ways. Cosby's character and Portier's character were both married and things of that nature, and yeah, they were out doing something they weren't supposed to be doing, and so they sort of paid for sinning, basically, in a lot of ways. It was like, hey, you did something wrong, so something wrong happened to you, and so the story became about them trying to right the wrong. Well, anyway, but if you pay attention to the TV shows that came out at that time, the Cosby Show, even the Richard Pryor Show, as much as Richard Pryor is a maverick in terms of pushing the envelope and really inserting truth, into his content, he was conscious about, hey, I don't want to put this there. I don't want to do this. And so I just think it's a unique thing, and it's heavy at times for us as a people. This is why we still talk about it to this day. Like, I want to put something funny out, but do I do that at the expense of emasculating somebody, right? Like, what's his face? Robin Williams, who I love, did Mrs. Doubtfire. Nobody said, oh, you shouldn't be emasculating white men.
Justin Hoffman did
Tootsie. You know what I'm saying? Dustin Hoffman did Tootsie, right? Yeah. But then on the flip side, and I'm guilty of criticism too, when Tyler Perry is dressing up as Medea, right? We can talk about street stuff. We can do Boys in the Hood and Menace to Society and things of that nature. But then it becomes a point where, all right, well, now this is what we do. And so there's a backlash. Well, how many times we're going to say this? How many times we're going to do this? That kind of stuff. So it's something that I think is unique to us, where we feel the responsibility to always figure out a way to tell the story and still be on the up and up. Well, some of us do, and some of us don't. Some of us say, hey, this is just strictly entertainment. Either don't be dumb and follow this. This is just a movie. Kind of like echoing what 21 Savage is saying, or Dr. Dre. Hey, this is just entertainment. You shouldn't be doing this stuff. But, when people are out there dying and people are out there doing things and they're inspired by it, what does that say to you as a content creator? I'm sorry, I went on too long. My bad.
No, you're good. And Thomas said it. I think Thomas said it.
So I'm going to post up what Thomas said real quick. It boils down to you and your core values, like any other business. That was one thing Thomas said. Then the other thing Thomas said while Jamal was talking was, it is our natural inclination as a response to our history in this country and with society. Listen, I've said it a couple times. Who taught you who you were?
Mm.
And this is the black people. Who taught you who you were?
Nobody taught me who I was.
And no. Who taught
I'm like,
you
and
what a
nobody
black
taught me who
person
I
is?
was.
If you look at American society, they gave you an idea of who you are to them, and that's who you're supposed to be. That's not who you are. And so, there's Boys in the Hood. I didn't look at it like I wanted to be a hood dude. I want to get a gun. And I want the part that hit me in Boys in the Hood was when Furious Styles took them to the neighborhood.
Yep.
And showed them. He said, you know what's different in the black neighborhood? There's a gun shop, a pawn shop, a liquor store on every corner. You go out to the suburbs, they don't have that.
I was thinking about that yesterday, I swear.
And so
look around. Yeah, look around.
Yeah, and again, I can enjoy that movie and its social commentary on what it's about. What happens is when we romanticize that, when you romanticize a juice instead of understanding its purpose. A lot of directors were about telling stories, especially of a certain group, were about telling certain stories for a reason and purpose for our community. But they also made movies that we enjoyed. John Singleton did Four Brothers, great movie to me. He did Fast and Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious. I liked it. He did other stuff, but he also did produced and directed films that made us talk. When people watch Snowfall, are they looking at it from an education perspective or entertainment perspective?
Both.
And then some people are looking at it from both. It comes down to understanding. I look at films for human psychological experience. Why do people think that way? Because I don't think that way. When I watch Power, I'd be like, who thinks like that? But I know I don't think like that. And so we function differently, but there are people who think like that, who move like that. And so sometimes people are telling a story they're comfortable with, they know, and they know it so well. And yes, some cases it's romanticizing the game. But then are they responsible for your kids? Or are you responsible for your kids? That's where I come down to things. As an educator, when I try to bring filmmakers to the school to talk to kids or bring them, what's crazy? And I've said this before on previous shows. I try to invite educators to talk to my students. They don't have any films they can show to my students. Oftentimes, their content is geared towards adults, but they're missing an audience that they can be influential. I'm not saying there's no young people content, but here's something y'all probably don't know. Ludacris made a cartoon for his daughter that you can go catch on Netflix right now.
Karma's World. Check it out. Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Cool.
There was a whole Motown cartoon using the old songs to tell a story that was on Netflix. There was, so what are you watching? What are you, as a filmmaker, as a person that studies film or the industry, what do you subject yourself to if you're always watching gangster films and that's all you ever watch? There's a problem. We are not monolithic, but viewers can be. See,
go ahead.
I'm just saying, if you're into hip hop, you should be listening to all music. I could tell you where most of the samples come from. So can DJ Sci-Fi over here, because we grew up. I used to rap, and I could tell you the songs that people were sampling and different stuff, because in my house, all the music was there. The only other house, there's only two houses I've been to that had more music than in my house. And one, he's not here right now. Leonard has been on this show, or he hasn't been on the show, but he's popped in the comments. His dad was a DJ where we live, and you go over there, it's the whole room. And still boxes in the middle of the floor. And Jamal used to be like, let me see, can I look through the thing? Like, I'm telling you, we all go over there. What do we do, Jamal?
You guys would do whatever you were doing. I would go over to wherever the records were. That's what I would do.
Hey,
I
Modesty
I do
Black.
that at Michael's house.
Blade, sorry, Blade.
Go ahead.
No, I was
That's
just saying,
David.
hey, Modesty Blade and
That's David.
Adrian.
Oh,
Yeah,
he changed
Adrian
his thing.
is Adrian. Look at the Lord, how he just mixing everything together. Adrian is taking us into our next segue. Go ahead and finish
All right.
DJ Sci-Fi,
Yeah.
what you were saying, and then we'll segue into what
Oh
Adrian.
no, I mean, I agree, with Michael, although I'm not telling you where the samples come from because I don't snitch. I have a rule. I know it, but I ain't telling. So, but anyway, go ahead, segue. I was really just, because you passed it over to me, I was just throwing it back. My bad.
Good morning, Adrian. Hey, miss you. Adrian said, how do we feel about Tubi?
I love it.
So you want to go TK? I could go. I've already talked a lot.
I love Tubi. I have my first movie I plan on putting on Tubi. Now, one thing we have to remember is Tubi accepts filmmakers and films in all facets, from F movies to A+ movies. But the one thing we have to remember about Tubi, which I forget sometimes, is that Tubi has a plethora of films that we can look beyond just what it shows us, like the recommended films, and we can actually see really good films, and we can see first-time filmmakers, and we can see filmmakers that are never going to improve. We can see all of this through Tubi. But what I do like about Tubi and what I've heard, because I heard the ad-based advertising is how the filmmakers are getting paid. And to me, if you're getting paid as a filmmaker, I'm going to lean in and say this real slow. If you're getting paid as a filmmaker and you're making money, if you are able to, and prayerfully you are, take that money, reinvest, and make your next film even better than the one that is on Tubi now. So to me, Tubi is a tool to allow you to continue to be creative, express your work for other people to see, and be able to gain income so you can continue growing in your craft. You want to flip it, back it up, flip it, and reverse it? Okay.
You ain't too far gone to see that yet.
So I'm about to give my Michael Melvin 2 cents. You done, TK? If you're not,
I'm done.
TK's done. Let me rewind that part though.
This is a business, and you ain't too far gone to see that yet.
So I told y'all I watched Jason's Lyric this week. I watched it on Tubi. Right? So now what I did notice is Tubi has increased their commercials. Or they increased them on Jason's Lyric, because it was pretty much every 15, 20 minutes I saw a commercial, which isn't a lot.
Was it 60 seconds? Because Hulu is like 2.5 minutes or something. Was it 60
No,
seconds?
they were about 2.5 minutes. It was 3 commercials each time. And so about 1.5 minutes to 2.5, just depends. But no matter what, it was 3 commercials each time. So what I'm going to say about Tubi, and I'm going to say this about any platform, because we were talking about this earlier, and this was part of our conversation. Because the conversation has come up, why don't Black filmmakers support Black platforms, right? That has been a conversation. And so I'm working on trying to get a content on Tubi, by the way. I'm working on, TK knows, Jamal knows. I'm working on something. And so here's the thing, okay? There's a couple of factors about platforms. So I'm gonna break down the use of platforms first. You want to get your work on as much eyes as possible, but you don't want to do it for free for somebody else. Let me break that down again for you. You want to get your content seen by as many eyes as possible, but you don't want to do it for free for somebody else. And this is my theory for me, because I've had people reach out to me to show some of my stuff on their platforms, and they didn't want to pay nothing up front. I'm an upfront guy. I license. I'd rather license it. If I can't license it, I don't want to do it. But if I know that something has a running track record, and this is why I talk to people who are dealing with it, then I can go, okay, because now it comes down to reputation and how something functions. So if there's no money up front, I need to know I'm getting paid. when you're starting a new platform, because somebody asked, how come black filmmakers don't all go to only black-only platforms? When I talk to some people, everybody's coming up with a platform on Roku. So let me break that down real quick. Roku is free. I can put a platform on Roku right now. I just want to tell you, Roku is free. Everybody can start a Roku channel. It's having the content to keep people coming back to watch your stuff. Mm-hmm. The people who create these Roku channels and all this stuff, they need content. Their number one problem is they do not have initial investment. The reason, and that's the problem, initial investment. I've already have a theory on how I would run my own channel. One, it would come with a price tag of $5 million investment. I'm breaking this down to you. Why, Michael, do you need $5 million? Number one, I would go purchase licensing of people's content. Why? Because every filmmaker doesn't make a film for you to show it for free. They want something. And if you're not invested in putting money out, but you're only invested in getting money in, and again, what did I say before? You got to be beneficial in order to benefit. And I know as a content creator that content costs. And when people approach people, I want to show your movie and okay, what's it worth to you? What kind of check are you willing to cut? Well, people, it's getting it out there. I can do that myself for free.
Ooh, I hate that.
Okay.
Amen.
I had a whole web series I didn't even really advertise. I had 40,000 views on the first episode within 2 weeks. Trust me, I can do it myself. We didn't know advertising. And we get people till today asking about the show and when we coming back. So when I look at stuff, I look at it from a basis, if it's free, I can do it myself. So what are you willing to spend? Well, how are you going to show me you're invested? The other thing I ask is, what's your marketing plan? Every business needs a marketing plan. And I don't care what business you're going into. Every business needs a marketing plan. How are you going to start reaching your audience? What are you going to start doing? Sometimes we do start businesses without an initial plan, but the people in your circle should be like, what are you doing to promote this? Because everybody's going to, what's the results? What eyes are going to be laid on it, right? I don't want followers. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't want followers. I want supporters. A follower, a stalker will follow you. You hear what I just said? A stalker. You got Facebook pages now. Y'all know people just watch and see what you're doing. I don't want that. I want supporters. Where's the money? Supporters spend money. Supporters write checks. And so when someone is creating a platform, they should want supporters. Now, a Tubi is free. So that's the first gimmick. Hey, it's free. You can watch movies for free as long as you watch a commercial. That's better than Hulu to me. Why am I paying for Hulu, which I don't pay for, but I get. But why am I paying for Hulu to watch commercials? That was the whole premises of cable television in the first place, was to have HBO and Showtime and all that without commercials.
Yeah.
And then it all shifted. Now they get paid from you. The cable TV service gets paid from you, and they still see commercials.
And you still see commercials.
So
see that in the movie theater too.
Yeah, the maximizing earning potential. Everybody wants a return on investment. If you go in it with a business state of mind, then you shift your thinking. Okay, people want to rag Tyler Perry out. He has a certain budget for all his films, and he's not going over it. And guess what? He's a billionaire. He didn't get there. Yeah, he don't make everything everybody's going to like. Somebody liked it because they made him a billionaire. And this is why I tell people, you got to know your niche. Huh?
That's understanding his audience, and he just catered to it.
That's what it's about. And so when you look at platforms, so now let's talk about getting your stuff on platforms. Why? What you need to think about as a filmmaker, because again, I'm not giving you anything for free. I can do that myself. That's the initial concept conversation I'll have with anybody. Netflix licenses. I remember a guy trying to tell me, no, they don't. I got a guy. No, you're lying, because I know what I'm talking about.
Ooh.
And I just let them talk, because everybody will tell you, I will never pay you to play my stuff. I'm the content creator. You're the guy that needs content. I'm not paying you. You pay me. There's a sample I wish I could play, but here's the one I'll play instead.
This is a business, and you ain't too far gone to see that yet.
So at the end of the day, if you create content, how you put it out there is based on you. Now, people are putting stuff on YouTube. They can, because you can do that for free, and YouTube's going to give you the money for ads. YouTube's always been free. So now you got to market yourself. Now they got this thing called Reels that everybody has to make a reel at least 3 times a day to get looks and to get paid. But Reel means you don't have to have a follower on Instagram. It means you get paid regardless if you get X amount of people looking at your reel.
Oh.
So you got to know your platforms. Why would I use Tubi? Tubi runs commercial ads. They're probably going to tell me how many people are watching my content. This new guy coming around trying to do a platform doesn't probably want to open their books up, because some people, let's just be honest, because they're not honest. I had a person tell me one time, we'll play your content and you got to bring us viewers, and for every views you bring us, we'll pay you $1. And then if you bring us X amount, we'll pay you $2 more. Wait a second. So you'll already be playing my content? He's like, yeah. I said, no. Pay me. You want to see you want my content on your page to bring eyes? And see, some people want exclusive deals. Exclusive means you pay more. That means this is the only place people can see it. Somebody asked, what's the problem with people trying to see content? Why won't they be exclusive to this? Because here's the thing. If I got my content over here, okay, let's take a song. Instead of, I got my song on iTunes, on Apple Music. I got my song on Spotify. I got my song on Tidal. I got my song on Google Play. I got my song. Now there's different checks at different costs coming in. I'm trying to maximize my earning potential. If I got investors in my movie and they need their money back, I got to maximize my earnings to pay people back so they can trust me to make the next film. And I got to show profit when I make the next film, because if I don't show profit, then I'm at a loss. And if I'm at a loss, now we got a problem. Who wants to invest in something losing all the time? So we have to have those real business conversations. You got to know what you're talking about. How are you going to market it? Oh, I'm going to let everybody know it's on Tubi, so they go watch it on Tubi. That's what a lot of people are doing. But the problem is sometimes they're marketing to the wrong people. This is why I tell filmmakers, stop being in film groups, marketing your film to filmmakers. You don't go to a shoe store to sell shoes.
Yep.
So I don't get that mentality. You go to what your film's about. If you know you're talking about domestic violence, you go into groups that discuss domestic violence. If you're talking about fatherhood, there's fatherhood groups on Facebook and on Instagram. You get with these people and you start making these connections. That's where the network comes in. That's why you got to be beneficial in order to benefit.
Come on.
But what happens is we think we have this thing like this. Jamal said you got to run with the blinders on, but sometimes you got to take them off to see what's going on around you, not to be concerned with the negative, but to see how you can make things work for you. When someone tells me the film I want to see isn't being made, I laugh, because I said, then you're at an advantage. Go make it. If the toy I want isn't out there, then why don't I hook up with some people that make toys and get the toy made? Because now I'm at an advantage. Go ahead, Jamal. I'm sorry.
Nah, I just want to know, could you say that again so I can record it? You're at an advantage.
No, you're at an advantage. I'm saying, like, you gotta.
The first 3 scripts I wrote when God called me to write, the first one was a rated R, faith-based movie, because I was kind of upset, because I'm like, why do we have all these rated PG and G faith-based movies? It's some people it's a lot of us that had most of us didn't come to, it wasn't lilies and butterflies when we came to Christ. You know what I mean? He had to dig and pull us out some stuff for real. The second movie I wrote was The Garter, because I did not see a lot of, well, honestly, and to be honest, I wrote The Garter because it's a black male lead romantic comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I literally am finishing up the details on the pitch packet for an investor because I can't find the original one I did. But do you know, I barely found one a year in the last 3 years. I was so shocked because I had to scrape for those. So it kind of made me sad. So I'm happy now that I did write it. And the third one was a camp movie, because what I noticed is that there are teenage movies, there are kid movies, but the tweens were being left out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wrote a movie for the tweens. Camp Wanna Poo Poo. I said, how that, you know what I mean? So like you said, you're mad because the movies aren't like, you're not mad, but you're asking where they are. That's your opportunity. And that's what I did exactly that.
And so what do I think about a Tubi to wrap that up? It's a good start. It's a good place. Could we have our own platforms? Yes, but we got to come right. This is why we say indie industry, because you still have to understand industry standards. You still have to understand how the industry functions. You can't, it's crazy to open up a restaurant not learning about the restaurant business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's crazy to open up a convenience store just thinking things are just going to sell. I'm going to use a personal story. My mom sold clothes. She sold women's clothes. She sold men's clothes. My mom made more money off the men's clothes. And the reason she made more money off the men's clothes was simply because she wasn't shopping for herself. She wasn't thinking about her. She was thinking about her audience because she's not a man, so she wasn't thinking like that. So she could sell men's clothes because she was buying clothes based on sales, buying it and, buying and distributing clothes based on that. When she bought women's clothes, she bought what she was used to. And her audience, where her location and demographics wasn't into that. So she was losing money on women's clothes, and she had to charge more money. And so she was in competition with herself, with other people too. Because here's the thing, somebody else can sell it cheaper simply because they know the audience and they know what they're looking for and they can meet the price and they didn't have a huge overhead. Okay. So if you don't understand a business, I'm not saying get out of it. I don't ever say get out of it. I say, then you need to go educate yourself about it. You need to go really get deeper understanding about it. And this is why many of you probably joined us today. We're not perfect. We learn every day. That's why we make the contacts we make. We talk to the people we talk to. We get the insight we get. That's what we're about. And if there's more of us coming together to build an industry, then we understand it. But then we also having the conversations. I've seen people let their web series get on a channel or a platform and they ain't do nothing. Here's the bad business part. The web series didn't even stay. Right? It only lasted 3 episodes and boom, it was done. They didn't even have a full out plan because they were just shooting script to script to script. When we did a web series, we had all the scripts written. We broke it down. We had a plan. We knew what we were doing. I wanted to test it out doing an episodic show. That's all I was doing. I didn't want to use YouTube because everybody was on YouTube. So I wanted to see if I went, what direction could I go elsewhere that would garner people. And I said, everybody hangs out on Facebook. Y'all hanging out with us now. If you haven't seen a web series called I Am, you go to the I Am page and go check it out right now. Shameless plug. But like I'm saying, again, what happens? So on Facebook, you have to have over 100,000 views to start monetizing. That's it. Really, 100,000. We're YouTube, you got to have 1,000 followers. You got to have so many minutes, 40,000 minutes of views you got to have. And that's just to make a little. And they keep coming out with new stipulations. What is it with Tubi? Tubi goes, hey, the more views you get, the more people watching those commercials, we send you a check quarterly, every 3 months.
And you're talking about 8 or 9 minutes of commercial time in 1 hour, and you're watching it for free?
You can't beat that.
You can't beat that.
They know they need content. But what does the other guy do? Oh, we're trying to get, we're going to get your views. What comes with the views? Is it a check?
Well, it's sort of like...
Oh, go ahead, Joel. I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, it's all right. But Tubi sort of represents Main Street, in the malls, in the Main Street, and it's in the mall. It's in a popular mall where everybody goes to, because it's everywhere. You can find Tubi on, it's accessible. And then you have some, platforms that are way out that you have to drive like 45 minutes. And it's not like an easy straight shot. You have to go make a lot of turns and get off this road to get on this road and blah, 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 just to get to it. And asking, being demanding at that. Sure, you might have some good quality, stuff in that store, but the one thing I know about human beings is that we love convenience. That's why 7-Eleven never goes away or McDonald's never goes away. I believe me when I tell you, if McDonald's starts closing down, we're in trouble. It's the truth. It's the absolute truth. And so it goes to that point about Tubi, where Tubi is now accessible pretty much everywhere. You can get a smart TV, you can access it. It's on Roku, it's on Apple TV. You have all these different platforms that are accessible to everybody. And really what it is, and my dad used to say this a lot, is that 98% of success is being there.
Yeah.
If you're there, that's most of it. And then the other 2% is up to you, but you first have to get there. You have to get in the door. You can't do anything standing outside. And so to that point about those platforms that are on the outside, or forget them for a second, you being the content creator and you're looking to distribute, it's okay to utilize a Tubi, because somebody's going to watch it somewhere. Somebody, hey, you know what? I was scrolling through, this looked a little intriguing. Let me click on it. I know I've seen things that I didn't know existed before. There was this Kung Fu movie. Michael knows I'm a big Kung Fu movie kind of guy. I grew up on that. And there's this movie called Ninja Kids. I had never seen this movie before. And the opening sequence, it was ill. And, there's a reason why they didn't show it on TV, because it was a little raw. There's a lot of stuff going on in there. But anyway, that's how I learned of that. And that was on Tubi when I saw it. So it's a great place to discover things. It's a great place to rehash things that you remember from your childhood or whatever. So there's a lot of benefit to it, which is the reason why something like a Tubi would work for you. If you do have a platform that you're trying to start up, I do agree with Michael. You do have to sort of make it enticing, because the journey to get to it is already a bit inconvenient. If I'm paying attention to where my content is going, sure, I don't mind supporting Michael and his platform, right? But he can't be so demanding to me, like it's already a strike that, hey, nobody really knows about it, so we're gonna have to work hard to try to promote this platform, right? Because now I'm incentivized to do so. But then he's gonna ask for even more on top of that. Well, wait a minute, what would be the point of that? How does that make good business sense for me to go there with him when I can go to Tubi?
It has to be a win-win.
It has to be some sort of common ground. Like you have to,
Right.
like my cousin is a big DJ, and he would always tell me that Biz Markie, God bless the dead, that was one of his best friends, and he was saying Biz told him not to outprice himself out of a job. And this was back in the 90s. And my cousin was one of 2 or 3 people who started touring overseas before it became a thing, like on his own as a DJ.
Oh,
And
wow.
he was doing, he was.
Jamal was his road manager.
I was his road manager, and we did
Wow.
festivals, everything. So, but he learned a valuable lesson not to outprice yourself out of the deal. And so, to Michael's point, sometimes we come up with something and we try to outprice. We want to say, hey, I'm gonna put a premium price on something that nobody knows, because we tend to think that the more expensive something is, the more valuable
Yes.
it is, or that it's better. And really, it's not all the time. Sometimes it's just the name. Polo can charge $95 for a polo shirt or for a shirt like that, as opposed to the one you get at Target. But the one at Target is just as made, well made as the polo version. But the reputation allows Ralph Lauren to charge $95. You don't have the reputation yet. You have to build it up. I get it. Sometimes it is a thing with us. Whenever we see something that's high priced or whatever, we tend to say, hey, I get it, just to show that I could afford something. And so you'll have those people who invest in that or buy that, but you may not get what you want out of it. So just don't overprice yourself out of a deal, out of a good situation.
It's knowing what kind of deals to make. But okay, so I'm speaking. When I talk, I'm speaking from a place of a guy who was helping with people develop 2 different platforms. Not gonna say their names because they ain't here. And I tried to explain to them what they were doing wrong. I was developing content for one who kept saying they don't have the money. I'm like, well, wait until you get the money, because they were trying to get investors. The other one was trying to get investors as well, and they didn't want to follow certain things. And I tell them, I fight for the content creator. And this is why I say this. If I make a movie, I already spent money. You understand what I'm saying? I spent time as money, whether things didn't cost me as much or whatever. I still spent money. I still had to have some sort of budget. I still had to have conversations. I still had to pay actors or pay them something or do whatever or feed them. There was something spent. Okay? When I talk to people, I talk in a manner of pay for the content. And here's a couple of reasons why I prefer to pay for the content. And you don't have to pay ridiculous, but if you got a short film and you spend $1,000 and the guy comes to you and says, hey, I'll give you $250 to license your short film for the next 2 years. Well, let's be real. We know that most cases our short films aren't going to get seen beyond film festivals and YouTube and stuff. So if I can get $250 for a 5 or 15-minute short film, that's not bad, because now I'm getting paid for it, but I'm also building my name. So I'm recouping some of the money I've put out. If I got a feature film and I say, hey, I'll let you run my feature film for $5,000 for the next 2 years. To somebody, it may not be a lot, but it might be something to another person who has a 90-minute film that spent $10,000 to do it. You recoup half of it already.
Exactly.
So, and then you get people. Now, that's not an exclusive deal. Listen to me again. That's not going to be an exclusive deal for me.
Right.
That's going to be, I'm going to put you on this platform and I'm going to try to get it over here and negotiate so I can recoup my money. As an independent, if I spend $10,000 on a film and I just did one distribution deal for $5,000, one for $2,500, one for $7,500, I'm now starting to make my money back here.
Yeah.
If I go to Tubi, who's paying me for all the commercial plays, and I get a much bigger check, I can't. Here's the thing: and this is why I told the platform people, when you don't license and don't pay for it, you now got to put it, because I'm going to put in that I can look at your records.
Oh yeah, I saw something on that. Yeah, I saw a video on that. Yeah,
right, I dealt with a VOD before a long time ago. That's why I really don't do them. I audit. I want to see, because I want my check.
Yep.
Okay, you got 10 people watch, you need to pay me for them 10 people. I don't care. So that's the thing. And we have to be willing to have these conversations. So when people go, well, I got a platform, I want them to stop for a second. Do you really have a platform? Or is it you're trying to start a platform and you need content? So what's the best way to get content? I told one platform, I told both of them, it's better to license. You know why? Once you got the license, it's paid for, you're not paying residuals. So even if you put up commercials, guess what? You're making that money back. And so you're not worried about it. The filmmakers they got paid. They're out.
Right.
They can move on to the next thing. That's what I look at it. Netflix license. Netflix is not going to keep kicking you out a check. They're going to purchase it. and they move on. And so that's their model. And this is why I ask people, what is your platform model? If you can't explain your platform model, you don't know what you're doing. And if you can't tell me what you do, and don't sugarcoat, don't try to talk fast, because I'm a good listener. I don't do fast talking. You can't out hustle a hustler that's hustled very well.
Come on.
And people don't know that about me, but I'm just telling you straight up. I listen. I pay attention. I'm the guy in a room who will keep my mouth shut and just watch things play out. Now, I'll pull my friends up in the back, Jamal, TK, and I'll say, this is what I noticed. So you got to be very mindful of that. And so, because some people will talk fast. I had people talk to me for an hour. And I was like, okay, send me the contract. Then they send me a generic contract. Okay, I'm not signing this. I'm not. And one guy sent me a contract with another.
A generic contract? Did you say a generic contract?
Generic contract. Okay. It's generic. One person sent me one with someone else's information on it. So I wouldn't do business with them anyway, because they didn't even take the time to read what they were sending out. That's why I fault everybody who joins the Black Filmmakers Lounge community and they don't read the instructions, the rules. I would never do business with you.
And when you're about to post, you can press the button that says rules. I saw that when I went to post something the other day. You can press the button that say rules, and it'll tell you what the rules are. And people still try to circumvent the rules. And I'm like, yo, if you're not willing to read and know what's going on, you deserve everything you get. If you get a 360 deal because you don't want to get an entertainment lawyer and you don't want to, those days is past. Prince tried to tell you. Michael tried to tell you. Everybody tried to, TLC tried to tell you. It's not new. So when people are just signing deals just to get money or just, nah, man, those days are over. This is why I love independence. You know why? Because some cats didn't sign the deal and they stayed independent. They got to cut them big checks. Yeah.
So this is why I say research and stuff. And so when you're looking at developing a platform, come right. You need to be able to tell me your marketing. You need to tell me what you're paying me, how you're paying me, when you're paying me, what's going on. If you can't, then we can't talk. There's nothing else to talk about. And it isn't because you're Black and you want to help the community. Let me tell you, if you're Black and want to help the community, pay me. Because you know what? Community wealth. You have a real integrity. I'm about wealth, generational wealth. So that's what I look at. How we can do this together. Yeah. But I'm all for that. I'm all for helping our people. But I know some people out there that will run that guys, this is for our people and everything. And they out there just to collect the check. They are not concerned with you. Listen, I watched Drink Champs, and Irv Gotti said it. He wouldn't give Ashanti her masters because he wants his kids to eat. Let me tell y'all, I know people who think like that. They want just their kids to eat. Okay.
Amen.
I would have worked out a deal where everybody eats, because you know what? There's room enough for everyone.
There's room enough for everybody. Amen.
So I'm a win-win. And platforms, you got to watch them. Netflix is good because they pay you up front. They're not going to. Now, Netflix is at a point.
They don't pay residuals to writers.
Right. They don't. And see, that's the other thing, what you got to know. So if Netflix doesn't pay residuals to writers who write Netflix content, what are you putting in your contract for your writers? And I know TK's contract because he does it with me. She gets a percentage. You put something out and to make money, TK collected a check. So you got to know what you're putting in your contracts. It's like music industry. There's some people that are called studio singers. They come into the studio, they sing the song, the lyrics. They don't do any vocal range or anything. They sing it and you own it and they don't get anything. They got their check that day, that moment. I had that when I was doing rap. I'd bring a girl into the studio to sing a hook. I wrote the hook. I wrote everything to it. I told them how I wanted it done. I paid her the $300 and she was gone. If I released the song, she wasn't getting nothing else. That's the deal. That's what they made. She didn't come up with anything. She just did what I asked her to do. But if somebody wrote the lyrics, now we need to negotiate. We need to talk something different. And see, that's where understanding business comes into play. Because a lot of people miss out on money because they don't want to listen to people. They got all the answers. They know everything. They're looking for the money. Listen, if you've been down and out, and I've been close to homeless, put it that way. If you've been to that point, there ain't nothing else. So I'll say no to a deal first, without a thought, because I already been close enough. I didn't know where the mortgage was coming. I didn't know where the car payment. None of that. I could just lost my home. I almost did a couple times, and I put my home up to make a movie. So what I tell the people, if you've already been that low that you didn't have nothing, just because somebody offered you $60,000, $70,000 don't mean nothing. It shouldn't. You need to make sure the deal overall is continuous. It's you get royalties, you get residuals. That one-time advance sounds good because they know you need the money now. Then you get mad because you need it later.
They play on the desperation.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They play on the desperation of people. And that's why I say when people say, oh, well, at least you have something out there. I almost said the wrong word on here. But listen,
it's a chosen shot.
Don't try to play me like I'm desperate and like my talent ain't shit. You know what I mean? Don't do me like that. And that upsets me because to me, they're downplaying our talent and trying to ride off what they think you are because they think you are desperate. Because they deal with, at least you have something out there. Who are you talking to? Somebody offered me $500 for a script I still got on my shelf that I'm going to make next year. Don't play with me. And it stayed on my shelf too. $500 didn't even cover one trip to LA. It took me to go learn how to write this script. Are you kidding me right now? Oh, I was so offended. I was very offended.
But what if they said, I give you $500 plus 50% of all proceeds of the gross?
Well,
see, now she thought about it, but that's negotiation.
But no,
that's
hold
the gross and not the net because you got to do your research. That's the gross and not the net. So do your research, people. Do your research.
See, I offer the gross.
But part of it is this, though. Part of that is just the respect given. You know, so what you're talking about is respect. Mm-hmm. You know, if I come to you, I know this is what you look. If I need a script written, I'm coming to you because I know that's what you do. Okay. If I'm coming to you, obviously, I think that you're good at it. So me coming correct just basically respects you and what you do professionally. Right?
Right.
So when you try to lowball somebody or try to offer them, you know, hey, you know, I'll pay you in a chicken dinner or something like that, you know, it means that you don't respect what I do. You just want what you want. And that's just how it comes across. So when you get those reactions, when you get those hard no's, you know, it's because people feel disrespected.
Yes,
so
they came to me
don't
and
make
told
it
me
a practice doing.
This script they ever read. This script and this, and then we give you $500.
No. But it's just a lack of respect. That's all it is.
You know? And then you have to play that. Well, at least you have something out there. That means, like you said, they don't respect your craft. They want what they want. So, people, we're gonna close out because we've been on.
Yeah, we sorry.
And you know, thank good. Yeah, it's a lot of good stuff. Thank you, Jaden. It's definitely good stuff, and that's why sometimes when we run over, it's hard because it's so much good information, and we get caught up in this good conversation. And thank you guys for hanging in there with us on this Saturday morning. I don't have any gems, but just to recap what we said. Understanding your wife, you're still confused about why sometimes that we're given scripts. Sometimes I'm given movie ideas and scripts I don't understand. And then after I write it, I understand what the purpose of me writing it was. So sometimes, so follow your instinct, follow your gut, follow your, and what's valuable and core to you will actually, come through. Like Thomas said, it'll come out in what you do.
Yeah.
So that, so just to that's all I have.
Jabbar, what you got? What's your jewel?
I mean, ultimately, just off the last thing I said, I think if you want respect, you have to give it. And I think that in negotiating deals or, it's much like dating somebody, you don't lowball them at the point of sale. You come with your best. You should always come with your best. And they may say, hey, your best isn't necessary or that much isn't really required. You've shown me enough. I'll work with you. But, don't make the assumption that just don't make that assumption. Like I said, respect is king. Once respect is off the table, it's hard to get it back if you can get it back at all. So no matter what you're doing, I also think that money is important, but it's not everything. So just keep in mind that you don't outprice yourself out of something good. Figure out a way to make it work for you. Take less on this end to gain more on this back end. There's all kinds of ways to get creative about your deals. So just be smart. Don't be afraid to be creative about those things, and just make it work for yourself. That's it.
I'm gonna throw this up real quick. Darrell said, I just had a conversation similar to this with some executives. They told me you have to have at least some buzz to make it on the list to get in the room to pitch. Okay. Now, this is why I'm independent. I ain't got pitched to nobody. I pitched to me. Now, I do have to pitch to somebody if I'm trying to get some money. I got my boys who they make their own money, and I can sit there like I was having a conversation Jamal this morning about investing into a project. But so yes, you do. People want buzz. There's a lot of people who are popular on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and everything, and people get them for the content because they think they're going to bring an audience. Because people want built-in audiences. I remember somebody asked about turning a book into a film. Well, usually the reason they choose some of the books they choose is because some books have built-in audiences already. So to make a movie about it only makes sense. Then there's some books people didn't know anything about that people go, this would be a good story if it was translated well onto screen, which will boost the book sales later. But you have to understand that, right?
And
Go ahead, TK. You got something you want?
I'm going to say this, Darrell, cousin. We work on a whole different level, and that is through God. So we do what we're supposed to do, and we do the best we can, and let God do the rest. Because we're, and you know what I mean? I didn't create a buzz to get this deal I had. What I did was walk in my obedience. So yes, yes, some people want a buzz, some people want this, but these other investors I have investors that are looking for me money, that are trying to find me money. I didn't create a buzz to get this money. I met them. They saw my talent. They know who I am, and they're willing to help me and work for me to get stuff done. So, yeah, people say that, but like I said, you do your best and don't, because there were points in times that I almost stopped doing this because I kept feeling like, oh, well, I can't get that done. Or, oh, I don't know that many people. Or, oh, I don't have adjectives. I literally almost didn't write scripts because I didn't have adjectives. And when people read my stuff, every time I can see everything. Oh my God, I can see everything. I don't write adjectives. I don't have a whole bunch of thick action lines that explain every single thing that's going on in the room. I don't have any of that. I just write. I just do my best. And it still came across like it needed to for people that read my work. So that's what I have to say about that.
But the other thing too, and this is to piggyback just off of that, right? This is why when people talk bad about Tyler Perry, I just start laughing like, y'all got to really pay attention. They turned him down. And then when he had a buzz, they had to negotiate to him.
Come on.
So
come on.
Listen, I tell people, you can take me now and it don't cost as much. Talk to me later, it's going to cost you.
Everything I given expired on August 31st. Every quote I ever made expires. Listen.
They see her price done gone up.
Listen.
So you gotta know that. And that's the thing. What I tell filmmakers, get out of film for a little bit. Get in the head of the art of negotiation, learning how to market, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Start looking at other things to help build you, because that works in what you're doing. When you build you, it works in your work. It works in your art, works in your craft. If you want to talk about social commentary, then you're building yourself, right? Because you can't just be talking about things you don't know, because people are going to pull you out. Because unfortunately, people don't want to understand that everybody doesn't know everything and everybody isn't well versed in every single thing. We just constantly learners. We're forever learners. But what people tend to do is hold you to a different level. It's like this. I didn't think poets would fight people. I thought they were these conscious people until I learned other information. I'm like, dang, or I seen stuff for myself. I'm like, dang, it's like that. People are people. They're human beings. What they do is an art. That doesn't shape who they are. Mm-hmm. So when we think about how we see ourselves from our work, that's why education is so important to me, is because if you don't know something, people take advantage of that moment. If you don't understand something, people recognize that you don't understand it. And so then they use it to their advantage. And so you get trapped, you get things, you're doing nothing different than anybody else in any other industry. The thing is, how well versed are you in your industry and how well rounded are you as a person to understand what's going on a bigger scale? So then you do change your movies. You do change the stories you write. You do change the influence you have. And then some of you may stay just where you are because you're comfortable. And it's okay to be comfortable. It is okay to be comfortable. That's your comfort zone. You want to stay in it. That's okay. Some of you will make a movie, will forever make movies for 10 grand every picture you make. And you know what? That's your hustle and you getting paid for that. I will never, don't ever count another man's money. That's one of the first things I was told as a kid. You don't count what someone else has. It ain't yours. How they spend it, how they use it, that's their choice. Now, when another man comes to you because they need money, now you can start talking to them, because if they had the money, they wouldn't come to you. That's where we get involved. And listen, I don't ever trust people who say, I don't, that's too much money, I can't afford it. Okay, if it's too much money, you can't afford it, then go up. Don't talk me down if I don't want to be talked down. Just say, okay, and go. And now, if you want to negotiate, like I told TK earlier, I came with the right negotiation, 500 plus 50% gross. Well, she's making her money back. It's a win-win. Up front, I paid $500, but then I put her in on 50% gross because I know, out of respect, she was getting the least. So I need to benefit her later. I talked to Jamal. Jamal, do you mind if I share the conversation I had with you earlier when we were talking music and investment? If I know Jamal doesn't have X amount of money, but he has a skill set that I need, then I say to him, I need your skill set. You can invest this much money and then put this skill set in it and still get a residual from the skill set, because that's going to be considered an investment into the project, because he produces music. And if I need music for my content and I want him to benefit from it later, then he's broken into a percentage, just like anybody else will. But he's providing something to it.
Actually, you already did that a long time ago.
I know, but I'm just saying we had that conversation again today. But like that, so that's the thing people don't understand. How do you negotiate? Right? You know you need something. And this is what they do with actors. They give them a percentage. If they know I can't afford this actor, but I'm going to give them producer credit plus X amount of percentage. The reason Tom Hanks got paid more for Forrest Gump, he invested in it. He took less. The unfortunate part was the writer of the story for Forrest Gump only made $300,000 and didn't see any residuals because of Hollywood marketing or financing said they didn't make money. And his deal was 3% off gross. I mean, net, not gross. I'm sorry, net.
Net, okay.
So because of that, they had to pay other stuff out. Oh, we had to pay for marketing. Oh, we had to pay for this.
There's plenty of articles about that. Let me tell you.
Everybody else got their check.
Yep.
He didn't. And then he sued them. And then they told him, hey, drop your suit. Say it was okay. We'll get Forrest Gump 2 from you, and we'll give you 6 figures on that. Have y'all seen Forrest Gump 2? Neither have I. He's dead now, too. Do you understand? But if you don't know, that's what they're going to do. And that's why we talk about what we talk about. We do the research, not so you don't have to, We do the research so we know, and we just share out what we learn or what we gather, what we understand, who we've talked to. Y'all got to understand that. People are in the game to make money. Hollywood is, when people tell me movies are cookie cutter, I laugh. Yes, they are. What you talking about? They always been that way. What you think Hollywood was? It wasn't. Artistic films didn't come into the 60s and 70s. Hollywood was about, let's make a new Western again. This is the storyline. Bam. Go watch all the Western films that came out around the same time period. See how different they are. They're not. It's an assembly line. It's a business, and these guys are in the business of making money. There are people who were innovators, but y'all studied innovators. George Lucas is an innovator. That's why you have Lucasfilm and Lights and Arts, and what's the thing called? Lucas Ltd. Lewis knows, and all the stuff he created. He worked with Apple. He worked with Steve Jobs to create the technology for special effects and computer graphics. Y'all have to understand. So they're innovators. Who's a black camera company you know of? Who has a black light design company that y'all know of? What software did a black designer create that y'all use in the film industry? This is what we need to talk about. This is what we need to be thinking about. But we got to come together and stop crapping on each other's films, saying what's good or bad. That doesn't matter. How you like it or not is subjective. Art is subjective. It's perspective and subjective. Business is business. I'm going to end with this part.
This is a business, and you ain't too far gone to see that yet.
So, we love you guys.
Thank you guys for watching us. Jarrell, Modesty Blade, Rosalind jumping in, Jaden, Adrian, Darwin, Thomas, Brandon. Don't forget to check out Brandon's show every Friday night on Industry Escape Network. It's the Independent Outliers United, right? On Industry Escape Network on Friday nights. He usually tags my page in it. But make sure you guys are following him so you can see the guests he's coming. And get your questions ready, guys. We're going to have a Q&A coming up. So make sure you get your questions ready if you have any.
If you guys got things you want us to bring up or talk about on the show, start sending us information, messages and stuff. And listen, the best way to support this show is to get eyes on it, to get more people watching, to push it. We're going to, it's not just following, it's sharing. If I get information, I'm sharing it with you. You need to share the show. So.
Hold up.
Yeah, what's up?
A little shameless plug real quick. Sometimes I pop up on another podcast. I just wanted to throw this out there. My cousin David does this called Into the Night podcast. I just wanted to give a little shout out since he came in and tuned in today. Check him out. Just look up Into the Night podcast. It's on YouTube, I believe. So definitely check it out. And sometimes I pop up there too. So that was it.
There you go.
Cool.
See,
Into
David
the Night
got a
podcast.
plug
Okay,
on.
cool.
All right, y'all.
All right, y'all have a great Saturday. Thank you for
Look.
hanging with us.
I don't know why that just does what it do, but I'm just going to say this. Hey, thank you for joining the Black Filmmakers Lounge. I'm your host, Michael Melville, with my co-host, Tamara TK Henderson, Jamal Terrell as DJ Sci-Fi, aka DJ Sci-Fi. And we like to remind you that the Black Filmmakers Lounge is where independent filmmakers, whether novice or professional, come together to gain insight and perspective through education, information, networking, and to discuss industry best practices that will advance the Black independent film community. We like to thank each and every one of you guys for joining us today. And we support y'all. We love y'all. Keep making those films. Keep making things happen. And do what works best for you. Remember this, the Black Filmmakers Lounge, creating our own space to succeed together. Peace. That was perfect timing.